Look, you guys know I am a huge diehard baseball fan, so I'm thrilled to have teamed up with Zero Calorie Pepsi Max for the 2012 Field of Dreams program. Check this out. For the second straight year, Pepsi Max asked fans to vote for their dream team of living baseball legends in both the American and National Leagues. Two guys have won this contest. This is the experience of a lifetime. You get to take the field with all of your friends and play alongside Major League Baseball legends like Cal Ripken Jr. and Mike Schmidt. The American League winner, Johnny Parati from Rochester, New York. The National League winner, Stephen Katchmark from Washington, D.C. Now it's up to you guys to decide which hometown will host the Pepsi Max Field of Dreams game by voting at MLB.com/Pepsi Max. This is a ridiculous contest. Go out there and play for the American League team with Frank Thomas, Rod Carew, Ken Griffey Jr., Brooks Robinson, Ricky Henderson. Come on, that is insane. National League team, Ryan Sandberg, Johnny Bench, Tony Gwynn, the Hawk, Andre Dawson, and Randy Johnson. Vote for which one of these guys, Johnny Parati from Rochester, New York, or Stephen Katchmark from Washington, D.C., will host this game. Go to MLB.com/Pepsi Max. This might be the coolest contest I have ever heard of. I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm asking you to be a part of it too. That's MLB.com/Pepsi Max. Put your name on it.
Put your name on it. Just put your name on it. That's all I say. Be a man or a woman. Put your name on it.
Well, I'd like to hear about it, potheads.
How the fuck you gonna know how to be great if you don't study greatness? Look at the game tape.
Donuts.
I want to work with you a lot.
Oh yeah!
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Put your name on it. More stories. And now it's going to be an action festival.
That's right.
Yes, Illeana Douglas.
Here we are.
Illeana really is. I told you this on the phone. It really is a beautiful name.
Thank you.
And you're beautiful and you're kind
Thank
and you're
you.
lovely. But Illeana, the more you say it, right now at home, just say it. Isn't it weird? 250,000 people just probably said Illeana.
Illeana.
You're going to be driving on the 405 and feel a shiver up your spine.
I like it.
That's everyone in Alberta
Nice.
just said it. We were talking. I take notes as I go, and Illeana said I look like a doctor, and I guessed your height, and then
Yes.
you had a funny anecdote.
I said, you have a favorite comment from a psychiatrist. Are you making these things up?
See, how do you know it's when you told me you just said doctor.
Well, I'm being more truthful because I feel like I'm on an intimate level with everybody out there.
We're certainly intimate here.
Yes.
You have a huge body of work, but for the sake of fans
And a
that
huge
have been
body.
What?
Got a huge body.
You have a huge body. That's what the biggest thing I've noticed in the decade since I've seen, more than a decade since I've seen you, is you are a fat, gluttonous blob of shit. Oh my gosh. Illeana Douglas, what has happened to you?
I've let it all go.
What kind of animation are they using on your web series, Easily Assembled,
Let
where
it
you
all
look like
go.
the svelte gal that is on the TV?
Let it go.
When your psychiatrist asks if you're making this up,
Yeah.
were you telling them like fantastical tales or
No,
something?
they were all real things that were really happening in Los Angeles in 2000 and 2001.
Happening in, like, you were just going, and then they shut down West Hollywood for construction, or happening
No,
to you?
no, things happening to me.
Okay.
Things happening to me.
And we won't get into it
Yeah.
but that's pretty amazing because people go into a psychiatrist and say, "Hey, I'm blowing my dentist for Percocet. I think I might have a problem." Nothing. You come in with something so incredible and outlandish that he wanted to know if you were making that up.
Well, yeah, it was just the daily occurrences. I tend crazy things do tend to sort of happen around me. Fun things, though.
Fun things happen. You have a enormous body and an enormous body of work, which
Yes.
I was going to say.
Sorry.
However, for the sake of the amount of action talk that has been tweeted, retweeted, and
Yes.
requested,
Yes.
we're going to take everything you've ever done, with the exception of the web series you're doing now, Easily Assembled, which is very funny. And you know what?
To assemble.
Easy to... All right, relax.
I know. I said I can finally boss you around all these years later.
Easy to Assemble.
Yes.
That's like the way to go. Ken Marino was here from the state. And he wrote Wanderlust, and he's doing that thing Burning Love. That's his web series.
Yes.
So everyone, you get like these enormous stars on Easy to easy to assemble.
Yes, we do. I want you on.
I'll go on whenever you want, but I'm amazed. Like at one point, I think I was like halfway through season 2, and they're all like 4 minutes long. It is the easiest thing to watch.
Yes.
In the world. So if you're on, you just go to YouTube and type in Illeana Douglas, easy to assemble. I watched an entire season like over coffee.
Yeah.
It was great.
And we've had 4, we're coming up on our 4th season. But yeah, we've had Jeff Goldblum. Tom Arnold is kind of a regular character. He keeps coming on.
Your make-believe boyfriend. I like when you guys are doing the talk show idea and Jeff Goldblum acted like he was a doctor and had a patient and had to leave. He was so uncomfortable. He goes, you know what? I just got a page on my pager. Yes. I'm a doctor and I have to go. I'm sorry.
Yes.
And he kept holding his hands up like he just washed his hands.
Yes.
So IKEA obviously are they your sponsor?
Yeah, so IKEA sponsors it. This all started back in 2008. I was very lucky. They it was very experimental at the time. They gave me a little money to do the show. And I had this concept for it that I thought would be kind of funny, like trying to get out of show business, but then to go work at an IKEA and try to live a normal life. But then my best friend, Justine Bateman, says, hey, this is a pretty good idea. And then she starts working there and steals my thunder. And then everything I tried to get away from in Hollywood now replicates itself at IKEA. And I'm forced to, vie for Coworker of the Year against her. And
how do you get money from IKEA? Like, how does that even, I know, let's say you have the idea for a web series. How does like IKEA even get on your radar to give you money?
Well, I had written a lot of things and pilots, and they hadn't gotten on the air, and I just was looking for a sponsor. I just knew this was a really good idea. I had done this show called Supermarket of the Stars. It hadn't really gone anywhere, and it just was one of those things. I pitched it. There was
It's referenced in Easy to Assemble.
Yes, and there was a whole line of people like Chili's and people that turned me down for the show. So
I just love oh, by the way, those chimes, anytime a door opens, you're going to hear those chimes.
Oh, okay.
And then you get turned down by Chili's and Applebee's, and you're like, well, you guys weren't exactly my top shelf that I was shooting for.
Yeah.
So, maybe
So then when I heard IKEA, I flew to New York, and I had
It's a better fit anyway.
It was great.
There's furniture there to sit on.
I was thrilled. I went in, and I had this meeting with them and their media company, and I pitched the show, and I said, and they said, do you think you can get Jeff Goldblum? And I said, I think I can. I said I can get all these people. I mean, at the time, Jane Lynch still hadn't exploded the way she had now. But I mentioned Jane. I mentioned all these people that I knew, Tom, and I said, I'll get them to be on the show. So,
and IKEA specifically said,
Jeff Goldblum.
The people that assemble furniture from this place,
yes,
they need to see Jeff Goldblum.
Well, and it was so funny because Jeff had never been in an IKEA in his life, of course.
Yeah.
So, even shooting there was like, where am I?
But that's how he is all the time. That's how he is in a cab.
Yes, that's true.
This cab,
that's true.
I've noticed there's a driver, yes, driving. We're in the back. Why don't we sit in the front? We're not in the front. We're in the back. Yes.
Yes.
Yar. We should be yar.
That's how he was.
On the show Action,
yes,
you and I met, and Illeana brought a scrapbook of many career things, and there was an entire action part. I'm amazed at how much of it I've blocked out of my life because I was so angry and upset at that time.
I know. I remember everything.
I
was angry and upset, but I remember it all.
I think that's why you go to a psychiatrist and I don't. I'm like the Vietnam vet, like it never happened, and you're the Vietnam vet that can't close his eyes at night because he keeps reliving Chris Thompson going, here's your 19th revision.
Yes.
More script, more pages, and we want you to have sex with Buddy Hackett.
Well, it was...
I don't mind that rewrite, Chris. I think that's just all right with me.
Well, my favorite, the thing that I always quote is that after one of the read-throughs, I said to Chris, you understand that I'm playing a prostitute. I'm not actually a prostitute.
I think that's a fine line for Chris.
Yeah, there was
not a fine line. I think that's a big, wide marker line on Chris of what's reality and what's not. How did you didn't read for it? They offered it to you?
Yes, I did not read for it. In fact, as I recall, the way it came about is I met Chris Thompson at a party at Les Moonvest's house. and we were on a bus. This is all true.
In the house. You're on a bus.
That's what I'm
theme
saying.
night. It was
that's
so-
why
it was-
this at some point you will say, "No, Illeana, are you making these things up?"
You stole my callback, you son of a bitch. I had that in my head the moment you started talking. I said, I can't wait for like 10 minutes from now. I'm going to drop that on her. She's
So-
too smart.
We're on we're on a bus.
Damn it.
Going to I guess Les Moonves' house was so big and massive that you had to get on a bus in order to go down a road to even get to his house.
That's also a way to keep people from really knowing where you live.
Yeah, you're right.
Like fancy weddings and stuff.
You're
It's
right.
at the place. You know the place. And then you
That's
get on a
right.
bus and you go wind up the hill and you're like, where was it? And you're like, I don't know. We were up high.
That's true.
Les's house was up high.
It was a winding, and on the bus ride, Chris said, "I'm writing the show, and I want you to be in it, and you're perfect for it." And I never heard from him again. And then I heard that other people were maybe possibly doing the show, and then cut to a late night phone call from my pal, Jay Mohr. You guys were at a hotel. I think you'd read a bunch of people, and it maybe hadn't worked out. And then you and Chris called me, and I received flowers. I got like full court press.
See, I have no memory of calling you.
Wow.
I literally asked you how it went because I just assumed you were on board when I came. I'm like, I'm a blackout.
No,
victim.
you called me because we had this long history before. We'd been on Picture Perfect. That's another episode of the show.
Delightful Jennifer Aniston. America's
Yes, that was
sweetheart.
our other. That's another diary.
Open door, Jen, whenever you want to come on. And Russell Brand, we're still waiting for you. Tweet him. So yeah, we met. We got along great. You were in a very uncomfortable position on Picture Perfect because she told you how much she hated me, and I kept coming to you going, "Oh my God, she hates me." And then action. Go ahead,
then
talk.
action.
And no, I mean, then you had like the director would yell action, Glenn Gordon Karen would yell act, and you would have to act with two people at a table complaining to you about the other.
It was interesting, and plus I was in a relationship with Martin Scorsese at the time, and
I
so-
like Condon.
and anytime anything would go wrong on the set, like a setup, Glenn would look at me and scream and say, "Oh, I guess you're not working with a genius now. I guess he could do 360s in his sleep." And it was like, what? I don't even know.
Yeah, Glenn screamed a lot. Glenn Gordon Karen and I had it out. Like, we almost came to blows. We've talked about it. I'm pretty sure we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
But then we became friends.
He's a doll.
As guys do.
Yes.
And then after we had become friends, Jennifer Aniston then said, "Hey, what's with this guy? Can you believe it?" But you know what? If she said that a day earlier, we'd
Yes.
probably still be best friends, Jennifer Aniston and I. But the fact that she waited until he and I had like fists balled up in the hotel bathroom, like, "I'll kick your ass," like screaming at each other, and then we hugged it out. And then the very next day, she was like, "Look, what's going? Like, we'll be allies against this crazy director." I'm like, "No, honey, I'm with him." You could have 48 hours ago. You and I would have been dating.
Yeah, on a seemingly, and the reason I wanted to do the movie was because Glenn said to me, "It's going to be like the fortune cookie, and you're going to be Walter Matthau." Yeah, and again, Q, are you making these things up, Illeana?
You know, Walter Matthau.
Yes.
You're just the Walter Matthau.
And I fell for that, and I also thought, "Oh, this would be great," and
Shooting in New York is, you'll let a lot go by just to be able to shoot in New York.
It was great, and we shot in Times Square, and I have
Yeah.
amazing pictures, and it was. But man, it went on. That movie just went on and on and on and on. It went on a really, really long time.
Yeah, and that's coming from someone who was liked by the star.
Yes,
I was loathed.
well, possibly.
I remember at
I was in the
Silvercup
middle.
Studios in Queens, we were there to rehearse, and I remember you and Jennifer and Glenn Gordon, Karen, and I were like, everyone's just sort of this odd confluence of arrivals all happened at the same time. And she walked in and looked at you and goes, 6 guys they screen tested. The one guy I hate, that's who they hire. Point, I'm right there. And then she storms out to go use the restroom. And then Glenn Gordon Karen comes in right behind her and looks at you and goes, "Do you know how rare it is to discover somebody? I discovered Bruce Willis for Moonlighting. I discovered this guy. They wanted this guy and that. But I held my own." And you were like, "That's great, Chris."
Yeah,
I mean, Glenn, sorry.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's what
I crossed my crazies. I
That's
said
what
Chris
I said.
when I should have said Glenn.
Well, Jerry Maguire hadn't come out yet. And
Yeah.
he said, I saw Jerry Maguire, and this guy's going to be huge. And
real huge. I'm doing a radio show from my garage. So you get a call from me and Chris Thompson
Yes.
to be on Action.
I got a call from both of you guys, and then I also received flowers. It was amazing. And then the next thing I knew, I was doing we were doing the pilot, and Ted Demme was directing it, and Buddy Hackett was going to be in it, and it was thrilling. It was absolutely thrilling.